We're going to move on to our second speaker of this evening. We're going to move on to Donna. So Donna is a Participation and Democracy Officer for North Ayrshire Council, and she's been working within North Ayrshire Council for the past 20 years within the youth work sector, concentrating on youth participation across the authority, along with a focus on young people's voices and rights, poverty and inequality, and young people's mental health and well-being. And Donna was really instrumental in the introduction and embedding of the youth participatory budgeting across the authority, and was the first to move the voting system online, which she managed to engage with a record-breaking number of young people who participated in the participatory budgeting vote. And she'll be focusing her presentation today on the green participatory budgeting processes. So I'll hand over to you, Donna.
Thank you. Okay, I will go and share my slides. 2 seconds. Sorry, I'm just trying to find the, seems to have disappeared off there. Oh, I found it, share screen. Okay. Okay, can everyone see that okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Great. Okay, so yeah, hi, my name's Donna, as Naomi has said, and hopefully I'm going to give you a fast whistle-stop tour of youth PB and kind of how we're moving that towards addressing the climate emergency in North Ayrshire.
Sorry to interrupt, Donna. Are you able to share the slides in presenter view? At the moment, I can just see the I can see all the slides down the side.
Also, I don't know why it's come up on my screen that it's sharing properly. Do it again. Slideshow from beginning. Is it showing it now?
So we can't see your screen at all at the moment.
Hmm. 2 seconds, it's coming up as if it's showing a full slide myself. Sorry, bear with me.
No worries.
Is that any better?
I don't know if you're sharing your screen at all at the moment. Are you able to click the green share screen button again?
Yeah, sure will. Share screen. Try one more time.
That looks like it's working now.
Is that better?
We can still see the slides, but it's not the slideshow view for some reason. If you try from current slide.
Yeah. No, still not. 2 seconds, I know what I'll do. I'll just, it's always a technical issue and it's usually always me.
Don't worry, I've already had one this morning.
2 seconds.
Don't worry too much if you can't get onto a presenter view. We can just look at the slides as it is.
Entire screen. Let's see if that works. Let's see. Is that any better?
That's perfect.
Ah, good. Okay.
Thanks, Donna.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, you're absolutely fine. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to kind of give you a kind of quick tour around how we do kind of youth PB in North Ayrshire, and kind of how we're moving towards kind of a green climate emergency agenda with the work that we're doing. So a quick overview about youth PB in North Ayrshire. We've been doing youth PB for around about 7 years now, so we're quite far down the line in terms of our journey of involving young people in this kind of process. Our youth PB is for age 8 to 25-year-olds, and we've currently just opened our next round, which is going to be live in November. As well as doing our youth PB, we also have our community PB as well. And the reason I'm mentioning that as well is because any young person aged 8+ can also vote in our community PB. So young people have the opportunity to vote across 2 different sets of PB that run yearly. And the relationship that's kind of got with the kind of climate emergency and youth participation, and kind of what I'm going to talk a bit more about today, as well as about our young people's involvement and how they're involved in the process of youth PB from the very beginning until the voting stage as well. And the young people and why they feel the importance of climate emergency being identified as one of our key themes going forward in youth PB as well. And I'll kind of talk a bit about how we came to that point as well. As I'm sure a lot of other local authorities had the climate change ambassadors, which are part of the national programme. Our climate change ambassador programme is still going locally, where we have a group of young people who are very ambitious about our climate change agenda in North Ayrshire as well, and they're the kind of driving force behind ensuring that climate change is included across all of our youth participation structures and within our youth PB as well. So probably to kind of give you a bit more information about kind of going from where we started to where we had went. When we had first started Youth PB, it was a kind of paper-based exercise. We had much smaller numbers working with us in terms of the engagement beforehand and the voting as well. And as Naomi had mentioned, we had decided to go digital quite early on in partnership with Young Scot. So we had engaged with young people and we'd looked at our numbers and we'd asked them what would make them get more involved in voting for the projects that matter to them most. And young people had said that going digital and using platforms that young people already knew. Young people are already used to using the Young Scot platform for using it for like Scottish Youth Parliament elections, etc. So we looked at how we could actually put our youth PB voting out through that platform, and young people reacted to it very well, and we're getting anywhere between like 4,000 and 5,000 votes per youth PB that we put out, which is massive numbers considering the size of our local authority. What we also done as well was we looked at our application process as well, which has all been made digital as well for young people or for groups of people that are working with young people to apply for. I might add as well, we still do have paper-based applications for those who need it as well. We've seen a massive increase in the amount of bids coming in through a promotion and using all of our social media channels. We're a very fortunate local authority with our IT department and our comms department allowing us to have as many social media platforms as we can handle, and believe me, sometimes I still feel like there are quite a lot of them. So we have our usual like Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, but we've also now got TikToks and whatever else. So using all of our kind of online voting, online promotion, seems to really get young people engaged and to get people interested in applying for the bids that we have as well. During COVID-19, we had to kind of move all of our groups, as I'm sure everyone else did, online. And to do that, we had to look at how we did our shortlisting to allow our PB to happen online as well, which is something that we've actually kept going. North Ayrshire has 2 islands within it and some kind of semi-rural and rural communities as well. So ensuring we have young people involved in that process of kind of shortlisting online by doing it as kind of like Zoom calls or whatever else, is ensuring we've got as many young people to shortlist applications down to what they think should be put forward to the final vote as well. The last thing that we did in terms of going digital is we now have online sessions to have voting with support. So for any young people that may need help in voting, then we can do online sessions with them. And for any young people as well that are wanting to put in a bid, we put together webinars for them to come on and learn a bit more about how to put a successful application form together to allow them the best possible chance of putting in an application that will go forward to the live vote. So obviously a big bit of what we're talking about today is the involvement of young people's voice, and young people being involved in decision-making processes as well. We have a co-design, co-delivery model in absolutely everything that we do within North Ayrshire. And our youth participation strategy is probably one that is quite well known. not long ago received a COSLA Gold award for the work that we do with young people and ensuring that their voices are heard across the board. So how do we do that in relation to youth PB? The young people are the ones that agree the key themes, and I'll go into the key themes of this year's just coming up. But the young people are consulted. We have working groups, focus groups that come up with the themes that they feel like young people would most want to see their money going towards. Young people are also involved in the design of the vote. So that's how it looks and feels on the Young Scot website. It's how the application form looks. It's a wide range of any of the kind of what might be seen sometimes as admin tasks. Young people are involved in all of those processes as well to ensure that it's as youth friendly as possible. As mentioned before as well, our shortlisting groups are all groups of young people from across North Ayrshire. The groups themselves are led by modern apprentices who are up to the ages of 19, 20, with young people from across all of our youth forums and other groups, such as our care experience groups, our young carers, LGBT groups. We have representation from across all of them that are involved in the shortlisting groups, so that when these applications come in, so we might have a set amount of money and we want to maybe overestimate the vote by, I don't know, like maybe like 10, maybe there's enough money there to have 12 successful bids. If we put 15 or 16 forward, those are the young people that get them down to those numbers. They're the ones that decide, and we're the ones that decide work afterwards. And in terms of the voting as well, how it's written up, the 100-word bios, all the kind of different bits in between, young people are the ones that decide on how that looks and feels as well. So it kind of brings me on to what our youth PB is looking like for this year. This is just launched yesterday, so our 4 themes are health and wellbeing, poverty and inequality, voice and participation, and climate challenge. I was really happy to see that young people wanted to see climate challenge come forward as one of the bids, one of the bid themes, sorry. So young people can apply for up to £1,000 for any youth project that identifies any of these key themes as well. We usually have a pot of round about £60,000 that gets put across the 6 localities, but last year we actually had 97,500 that went towards these themes, and we're looking at not far off that again from this year. So what's great to see is when we see these different themes coming in, young people are actually looking at these and looking at what changes they can make and putting the bids in, and climate challenge being one of them is great. How did we come to those different kind of like the 4 different themes? Well, in relation to climate challenge alone, it's a key priority for young people, and that's been done through consultation, and it's also embedded within one of our key priorities within our CLD plan, so it matches up perfectly as well. We also have a youth citizenship and participation strategy, and as part of it, climate change is one of the key points within that as well. Interestingly as well, we have young people that sit on our strategic North Ayrshire climate change working group. So it's all kind of like heads of service and elected members and stuff like that. So they've been in discussions with them about the importance of this, and it's really great to see their voices actually being heard, and for this to be within our youth PB this year. So in terms of kind of what we've achieved so far in terms of youth PB, we're just going into our 9th round of youth PB. We've had over 800 applications submitted for the previous rounds that we've had, which is a massive amount, with over 30,000 young people voting, and that's just in the youth PB alone. We're not including the community PB in that as well. And up until last year, that was with over £270,000 worth of funding allocated to projects. Like I said, this one's going to bring that up to over another 90,000 on top of that as well. And we're looking at estimating roughly around about between 60 and 70 applications are funded in each round. So that's great to see as well. I think one of the main things around about youth PB is about the key of partnership, and you know, it wouldn't be the success it is in North Ayrshire without that. Within North Ayrshire, we've got 6 localities, and we have locality teams. that help buy in and support and promote the vote as well. They're the ones that help the local groups apply for the funding, and they're the ones that help promote the vote and ensure that young people are given the opportunity to vote when it comes to the live vote. Schools are a massive partner of ours, obviously, in working with young people. We've almost got a captive audience there. We try to engage with young people as early as possible. We find times that suit, we prepare everything they need. We get school packs, digital packs, everything together. It goes in as a package, and then the schools then take that vote on. The third sector as well, in terms of those that are delivering youth provisions, they are vital in ensuring that it's not just your council groups or your schools or whatever else that's applying for funding, but ensuring that our third sector groups are getting some of that funding as well to be able to go out and do work in relation to those 4 themes that I just spoke about there. Our health and social care and our ADP, we work with them to see how funds can be given out through the PB process. So sometimes looking at our more marginalised groups and ensuring that they are given the support to apply for applications and being given the opportunity to vote as well. And I think one of the 2 other most important partners that we have there is our North Ayrshire Cabinet. Within North Ayrshire, our leadership roles support youth PB massively. And I think that ties into kind of the deeper young person's needs that we were speaking about, with climate change emergency being one of the top priorities for them. And I think it's also important as well that we're showing that young people are involved in this democratic process early on in life, whether it's MSYP voting or it's PB voting, and they're involved in that process of being involved in their community and voting as well. And the other key partners we have there is that locality partnership. They're the ones that kind of look at kind of like budgets and stuff like that and ensure that they are actually assigned to youth PB, and we have a commitment of a minimum of £60,000 per year going to youth PB. And what's also good about that as well is when we're looking at localities, we can look at pockets of needs within those localities and priorities and look at shaping the youth PB round about that as well. What works well, I think it's important to kind of talk about what works well when we're talking about youth PB, and the success that it's had in North Ayrshire is due to some of these reasons here. As I spoke about previously, our social media and our branding is very important to have that brand about youth PB shaping North Ayrshire, as it's called. Young people identify with it and they know what it is straight away when they have to vote, or so when they're asked to vote in their school. Creating the packs as well makes it really, really simple for any school, third sector group to be able to allow their young people to vote, through having temporary voting numbers to having information on all of the different projects that they can vote on as well. The planning ahead, essential. We start planning for youth PB to go for the live vote in November. We started planning that back in March when we started engaging with young people about the themes and kind of what that would look like. Within North Ayrshire, we have the creation of the PB toolkit, and I'm happy to share that with anyone as well. It's a great tool to be able to look at how you can do your first ever youth PB, or if it's just looking for new kind of hints and tips as well. I think what's really important is getting a buy-in from schools. I think when you have that, you've got, like I said, your captive audience, you've got that voting space for young people to be able to vote, and that's where we get the majority of our numbers from as well. One of the most important things as well is about sharing the results. I think it's really important for young people to see what the money's been spent on, what they've voted on, and then to be able to see the results of what difference that money's made as well. Evaluating and celebrating, that definitely works well. We love to be able to celebrate the groups and get catch-ups with them and see what they've done with the money. And we also ask each group for a 1 year later evaluation to see kind of what they spent the money on, what difference it's made. And the last thing is about sharing the learning. We don't always get it right first time. We are quite far down the line in doing it, but we're always happy to come on to events like this or to work with our partners and share the learning and what we can improve on and what's working well. So just to finish off, I'll probably just speak about the future of PB in North Ayrshire. Well, as I said, we are just about to go into our next round where we have a 2-week voting period in November. So the applications just went live this week, where people can apply for funding up until October. It's about embedding what we talk about into practice. So when we're talking about climate emergency, we're embedding that into the money that we're putting out, and ensuring that it's tackling the climate emergency in North Ayrshire. So protecting budgets, as I said, we've got a protected budget of 60,000, but we're always looking to protect more to ensure that young people can vote on how money is spent across the authority. We're in the process now of going to get grants so grant making into mainstreaming, so young people not just voting on things that involve money, but involving on things like tree planting, flower beds, a million different green projects and climate change programmes, where they can decide on how things are being run in North Ayrshire. We're keen to support communities into delivering their own youth PB or PB, which we're doing at the moment. And we're also in the development of moving our community PB onto the console programme as well, which is obviously a kind of Scotland-wide programme. And lastly, we're looking at embedding green and climate emergency as key themes across all of our youth PBs. So this isn't a one-off, it's something that I want to see going forward in all of our youth PBs as well. So I'll stop sharing for a second. That I do understand that was probably a whole lot of information in one go there, but I am more than happy to be able to kind of follow that up with anyone if there's anything that anybody else would like to know. And what I'll do is here in the chat, I've just stuck up the link to our participation strategy and also the link to our climate change planner page.
Thank you so much, Donna.